Well, diving is currently the quickest way out, but also very dangerous. People are worried about whether the trapped boys are emotionally and physically strong enough for diving. Our correspondent, Martin Lowe, is at the cave entrance and rescue operation in Chiang Rai.
It's well known that cave diving, diving in narrow underground passages in the dark, in flooded caverns, is perhaps the most dangerous diving of all, and it is fraught with difficulty. But nevertheless, that remains the first choice for removing these boys from this cave complex. Food and medical supplies are being taken in to toughen up the boys after their astonishing 10-day ordeal. The plan is that the Navy SEALs, the specialist divers who went in along with voluntary rescuers and finally discovered them, they will give these boys some basic underwater diving scuba instruction, because so much of the cave is flooded, perhaps a kilometre or more between where the boys are and the entrance to the cave is underwater, and it is still the preferred option to bring them out, because they say if it isn't possible, if they determine that the boys aren't strong enough or don't have the ability to do that, then the only real alternative is to pump out the water. Now, they've not been able to do that for the last 9 days or so with the biggest pumps and the biggest pipes anywhere in Thailand. To give you an idea, this is not like pumping out a pool of water. This is fast flowing water that's being topped up by rain like this, which is falling now. The water levels continue to rise. This is like putting pumps into a fast flowing river and trying to drain a river. Now, in fact, I have to say this, the Thai army has said today they are sending in food. They may send in enough food for 4 months. And if the pumps are unsuccessful and they can't drain the water, and it isn't considered safe to allow the children to scuba dive, to dive out, they may have to stay there for an extended period. At the absolute extreme, 4 months until October, when the caves drain naturally.
Well, for more on this developing story, we're joined by CGTN's Ryan Meltzer in Chiang Rai for us. Ryan, what is the very latest on the rescue efforts you have there?
Well, all we've got so far is that they have managed to get these very, very basic necessities to the boys in the cave, the same way that the 2 UK divers who discovered them yesterday, they've retraced their route. So now at least we know that they're able to access that area, and that took 9 days for them to get that far into the cave. What we do know is that they managed to get, as Martin said, just some high protein gels and paracetamol into them. The Chiang Rai governor told us that basically the boys, most of them are in perfectly good shape. A couple of them have minor injuries. None of them are actually considered in danger, in the red zone, as he put it. So there's no imminent danger to them, but clearly they're weak, dehydrated, and hungry as hell. So even these high protein gels are going to seem like manna from heaven for them at this stage. And the goal will be, of course, to toughen them up for whatever comes ahead, whether it's, as Martin said, whether they're going to have to learn how to scuba dive, crash course in scuba diving, and then somehow manage to make their way out of this cavern that took 9 days for expert divers to make their way through, or whether they have to wait it out for a while until the water levels recede. But that's a very, very risky thing to try for, given that we're just at the beginning, basically, of the rainy season, and it could be literally months more before those waters fully recede. So the options are basically teach them to dive, wait until the waters recede, or what they've been doing since day one, which is look for an alternative entrance into the cave, which will allow them closer access and maybe avoid having to get them to make their way through the floodwaters as these expert divers have done previously.
Okay, thank you very much for that update. That was CGTN's Ryan Meltzer there in Chiang Rai for us on the complicated operation to rescue those young boys in the cave.